Whenever the idea of rewatching old nostalgic shows comes to mind, with it arises a tinge of hesitation due to the possibility of that show not holding up as well as one might have originally thought it would have. Personally, one of the shows I had been intending to rewatch while at the same time was reluctant to do so is Slam Dunk, which is a sports anime based on a manga that I was lucky enough to have watched growing up. But it's been so long since I initially watched it. For that reason, I can't say for sure if it was a good show or a show I enjoyed at a point of time, you know what I mean? But that uncertainty faded away as I watched the movie based on it named The First Slam Dunk. To be real with you, this movie is making it difficult for me to not be biased, but I'll try my best to not be. By the way, hi, welcome to my channel. This movie feels like it has a heart, and it's so different from some of those vapid Hollywood movies. Unlike them, this movie's breather moments from its fast-paced scenes are not jokes that takes you out of the movie, but ones where the characters engage with one another in a meaningful way. And it doesn't feel like it rushes you when it comes to learning about the characters so it can get to the non-stop action scenes. It's somewhat laid back. At the same time, it builds tension as its scenes go on by mixing both character introspective moments and high-intensity ones throughout the duration of its runtime. The early scenes in the movie goes into the childhood days of one of the characters, Ryuta Miyagi, how he got into basketball, some of the things that pushed him towards it and away from it. This bit of his backstory doesn't conclude in those scenes. Instead, more of it is drip-fed after the match of the championship involving him and his teammate against this high school team starts. The same goes for other characters' background, specifically his teammates. The movie shows where they were and how they were before they got to this spot. And the movie familiarizes us more with those characters through those moments where they figure out how to outmaneuver or outsmart their opponent by either an individual effort or a collaborative one with other members of the team. The characters who we got to see how they were outside of the basketball court are ones who cross paths with Miyagi, so Akagi and Mitsui. Miyagi's two other teammates, Rukawa and Sakuragi, maybe because he got to know them after they joined the team, I'm not sure, but when it comes to their scenes outside of the match, they were hardly any. So when Sakuragi and Rukawa bicker and fight, or when one of them antagonizes/challenges the other, although it's a highlight of the movie and it's entertaining to see, but since the why behind their behavior is never addressed, their interaction may be confusing to some who are not familiar with the show. I think they'll come across as good side characters, but with one of them, Sakuragi, having skills akin to an OP main character and being overly praised like one. I mean, after all, he is the main character even if he's not the main focus of this specific movie. And he's still the comic relief. He's a fun character to watch even when he's just standing there in the background because he either got a funny expression on or behaving like, I don't know, in a way that makes him stand out. The scenes with him were always entertaining and funny. I thought he was hilarious. And yeah, although I said he's OP, he's not invincible. He's childish and he makes mistakes. So in the match, when he finds a way to skirt around the opposing team's defense or finds a way to score points for his team, it is satisfying to watch. That goes for the rest of the team as well. And about the match, I thought it was great. It was really tense, nail biting, finger biting, all that. Though some of the individuals of the team they were up against had buzz cut and similar stature, so they ended up blending together into one for me. And not all of them got an introduction or had anything said about them beyond them being part of the IT team to defeat. Most likely the manga went more into details about them, but it's understandable why the information about them feels limited here. After all, you can't include everything. So the only thing I truly wasn't too fond of in this movie is the animation method or choice. Definitely not the art style, obviously. The movie utilizes both 2D animation and this weird 3D models with 2D skin overlay. I know the latter saves on budget spending, and clearly some choices were made regarding the background and such with the budget in mind, which doesn't take away from the story, but I'm just saying. And I know a few individuals, personally, who don't notice when anime shows transition between scenes of pure 2D to 3D, but I've yet to get acclimated to them. I find those 3D models to be a bit jarring to look at. Seeing them reminds me of puppets on strings because they both have this slight floaty movement. In this movie, I thought the close-up shots involving them were great, even awesome, and I was shocked by how subtle expressions and emotions were able to be conveyed through those weird 3D models. But in wider angles, the characters didn't look as good as they would have if they were just 2D. But that's just my personal preference. I just find this style of animation to be distracting. I would have loved this movie more if it was just pure 2D. Like, I'm definitely gonna go back and watch the anime, but if the newer episode of Slam Dunk, if there were any, uses this style of animation, I'll cry. Still, I do highly recommend this movie, especially for anime sports fans, or just anyone who wants to watch a good movie. But let me know what you thought of it, if you've seen it, or just your thought on it in general, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Till the next one. Bye bye.